What you are about to hear is 100% true. These events happened to me. This is my eyewitness account. If you believe in what can't be explained, stay with me. I was 16 years old. 16. Not a child anymore, but not yet a woman. Living inside a faith-based group home for troubled youth. A place called Lifeline. A place that was supposed to save us. And maybe it did. Just not in the way I expected. I had left home at 16. I won't go into all the reasons why. Some stories take time to tell. What matters is that I found myself inside a program. A church-run program for girls like me. Girls who had nowhere else to go. Girls who were broken in ways that most people couldn't see. It was strict. It was regimented. But it was shelter. And at 16, shelter is everything. The program had phases. The longer you stayed, the more trust you earned, the more peace you were given. By the time I reached the second phase, we had just moved into a newly renovated dormitory. It was beautiful, at least compared to what we'd had before. Clean walls, new floors. It felt like a fresh start. Being in the second phase meant I got to sleep upstairs, away from the noise, away from the chaos of the newer girls who were still fighting their way through the early days. Up there it was quieter, calmer. I remember thinking, the night it happened, that maybe things were finally going to be okay. I was wrong. I had settled into bed. The room was dark, the way it gets deep in the night when even the building seems to hold its breath. The other girls in my phase were already asleep. I could hear the soft, steady rhythm of their breathing around me. I closed my eyes, and then I heard it. A dragging sound, low, deliberate, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. I told myself it was one of the other girls, getting up for water, going to the bathroom. I kept my eyes closed and waited for it to pass. But something felt wrong. The sound wasn't light. It wasn't the quiet shuffle of a girl half asleep. It was heavier than that, slower, like dead weight being moved across the carpet one laboured step at a time. I opened my eyes, and I saw it. Standing at the far end of the room, it had the body of a man, upright, roughly human in shape. But its head was wrong. It was the head of a pig. A large, grotesque, unmistakable pig's head, sitting on human shoulders, like something out of a nightmare that has no name. I could see the tusks catching what little light there was in the room, curling up from its jaw, yellowed and thick. Its flat snout moved. Its small dark eyes swept the room slowly, scanning from one bed to the next, moving its head from side to side, looking, searching. I nearly stopped breathing entirely. My mind screamed at me. This is a dream. This has to be a dream. Close your eyes, and when you open them it will be gone. So I did. I shut my eyes as hard as I could. I pressed my face down into the pillow and I told myself it wasn't real. That's when I heard it move closer. The dragging resumed, slower now, more deliberate. I could hear the carpet under its weight, the soft bump of it catching the edge of something left on the floor. One of the girl's shoes, maybe. A bag. Something ordinary that now felt like a marker on a map of exactly how close it was getting. I didn't move, I didn't breathe. I lay completely still and I listened to it cross the room. It passed the first bed, then the second, and then it stopped, right next to mine. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I have ever heard, because it wasn't empty. It was full of presence, full of weight, full of something standing inches from me in the dark. I could hear it breathing, low and wet and rhythmic, almost a snarl trapped behind closed lips, like it was savouring something, like it was deciding. I have never in my life wanted to disappear more than I did in that moment. I was 16 years old, I was alone in the dark, and something that should not exist was standing over my bed, breathing, watching me pretend to be asleep. Seconds passed, maybe minutes. I genuinely could not tell you. Time does something strange when you are that afraid. It stretches out and folds back on itself until you lose all sense of where you are in it. And then, breathing changed, the snarling softened, and I heard the dragging again, but this time moving away, past my bed, slowly, heavily, toward the small hallway at the far end of the room. I still didn't move. I heard it reach the hallway, heard the carpet give way to the harder floor near the door. And then I heard something I will never forget for the rest of my life. The outside door opened. The door that led to the balcony. The door that was always kept shut. The door that had no reason to open on its own in the middle of the night in a locked dormitory full of sleeping girls. It opened, and then there was silence. I lay there for what felt like an eternity, frozen, eyes still shut, afraid that if I opened them, it would still be there, that it would be standing at the foot of my bed again, waiting for me to look. Finally, slowly, I opened my eyes. The room was still. The other girls were still sleeping. The door to the balcony was closed, as if it had never moved at all. And the thing was gone. I didn't sleep again that night. I lay there until the first grey light of morning began to seep through the curtains, and I told myself that maybe I had imagined it. Maybe I had drifted off without realizing, and what I'd seen had been a dream so vivid it felt real. Maybe my mind had been playing tricks on me. I almost believed it. I got up that morning, washed my face, went downstairs with the other girls for breakfast. I didn't say a word. I told myself to let it go, because who was going to believe me? Who was going to believe a troubled 16-year-old girl in a group home who said she'd seen a pig-headed demon walking through the dormitory in the middle of the night? Nobody. That's who. So I stayed quiet. I kept my head down. I got my food. I found a seat. And then I heard them. 2 girls standing near the kitchen, voices low, urgent, hushed in the way that people get when they've seen something they can't explain and they're afraid to say it out loud, but they can't help themselves. Did you see it? Did you see it last night? I stopped walking. I stood perfectly still in the middle of that room, and I listened as more voices joined in. One girl, then another, then another. All of them asking the same question. All of them with the same look in their eyes. That wide, hollow, I don't know what I saw look that you can't fake. They had all seen it. Every single one of us. In that moment, everything I had been trying to convince myself of, that it was a dream, that it wasn't real, that my mind had simply fractured under too much stress. All of it collapsed. Because you can't dream the same dream as someone else. You can't imagine the same creature from different beds on the same night and walk downstairs the next morning and ask each other if they saw it too. It was real. It had been in that room with us, all of us. That was when I remembered the other thing I had seen, before I had shut my eyes for the last time that night. In that one terrible moment when the creature was closest to me, I had looked, really looked, not at the demon, at the girls around me, and they were covered in blood. Every single one of them. A deep, dark crimson, draped over their sleeping bodies like something poured from above. And yet none of them were hurt. None of them were stirring. They were peaceful, completely untouched. And in that moment, that terrifying, impossible, inexplicable moment, I felt something I did not expect. I felt safe. I know how that sounds, I know, but it's the truth, because the blood I saw was not violence. It was not harm, it was covering, it was protection. It was the one thing that demon, whatever it was, wherever it came from, could not cross. It was the blood of Christ. I believe that with everything I am. I believe that on that night my spiritual eye was opened, just for a moment, just long enough to see what was real, what had always been real. Underneath the surface of the world, we think we understand. That we were not alone in that room. That something ancient and something holy had wrapped itself around every one of us, and that creature, for all its grotesque power, could not touch a single hair on our heads. We were covered, all of us, and the proof was there the next morning. Not in the blood, which only I had seen, but in the voices, in the eyes, in the way every girl in that room came downstairs asking the same quiet, shaken question. Did you see it? Yes, I saw it. We all did. I was 16 years old. I had run from one broken place and landed in another. I had nothing. I was nobody. And yet something decided I was worth protecting. That all of us were worth protecting. I still think about that night. I still hear the dragging. I still feel the silence of something standing over my bed in the dark, breathing, deciding. But when the fear comes, and it does still come, I let myself remember the other thing, the blood, the covering, the sound of girls downstairs the next morning, asking each other if they saw it. We did. Every single one of us saw it, and not one of us was touched. If these stories found you, maybe they were meant to. Like and subscribe for more. There are things I've seen that I haven't told you yet.